Williams and Blum on a Wednesday. Welcome to the pod. My name is Chris Williams, joined as always by Brent Blum. We are presented, as always, by our friends at Mechdyne. You can check them out at mechdyne.com, MECHDYNE.com. They are not only a badass worldwide leader in all sorts of technology services, but they are one of the reasons we exist here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network. We love them. We appreciate their sponsorship, and we always want to encourage our listeners to, if you're looking for a job, if you're in the market for anything like that, check them out at mechdyne.com. Okay, Bloom. So, real quick, today's show, we're going to do a lot of Big 12, obviously touch on Iowa State and TCU. But we wanted to lead with, and you're the one that kind of just brought this story up to me. I hadn't seen it yet, but this is definitely right in this podcast wheelhouse. Apple and Amazon are going to be bidding on the college football playoff rights in some capacity.
They're in the room.
Okay, so let's hash this out. One, we knew this was coming in some capacity. But two, this is really, don't let any of these people fool you. Don't let any of these ADs and commissioners fool you. The reason they're expanding the playoff was because of something like this, because there was money to be made. The reason that they didn't do the exclusive deadline or whatever it was with ESPN like a year ago, I want to say, is because they knew that there was more money to be made. This is college football's equivalent of Amazon getting Thursday night rights for the NFL during the season.
And now there's a playoff game on Peacock, a wild card game this year.
Yes. Yeah. So like we're seeing this, and the NFL is just kind of always what are they doing? Look ahead. That's the model there. And I don't know if the I don't think the NBA's done yet, but there was a lot of momentum, I know, for a while that Amazon would get the NBA package, which was not I'm talking about like the full court press or whatever it's called.
Yep.
Which I know you subscribe to. I used to, but I haven't the last. But I do have YouTube for the YouTube TV for the NFL, and it's phenomenal. Like
that has been
totally
really
a game
fun.
changer.
Yep, totally. And I can't. I think it's a combo for me. Sundays have been, do I dare say, almost as enjoyable as Saturdays now.
It has been for me
because of the YouTube TV thing is great. You can have, and the NFL has it down to a science. Where you have these games and blocks, they're done, and you know what to plan for. And then you add in the fact that Iowa State's got guys pretty much everywhere now, including Brock Purdy, who I think I saw is in the top 5 for the NFL MVP odds, by the way. Which again, the story gets more and more incredible by the day. But that the streaming part of having NFL, whatever they call it, the season pass has been awesome. Just a complete blast to be able to watch all those games all at once.
No doubt.
But there's money to be made. I mean, here's the thing. The thing with why Amazon, why Apple, and you saw them flirt with the Pac-12, and that got close. You saw them flirt with the Big 10. You saw them flirt with the Big 12. They didn't win any of those. But the good news is for college athletics, they still want in. That is a good thing from a revenue perspective. It's also why they will probably get Amazon or Apple, maybe one of each, will get an exclusive first or a second round game for the playoffs. That's exactly what everybody wants.
And this is also a good dip your toes in the water deal. You're not really dipping your toes. You're actually jumping all the way in. But for college athletics, instead of like
a whole conference,
from what I understand, and I'm fairly well connected in this world, being as old as I am. A lot of people who are my age are now in rooms and stuff. And from what I understand, the Amazon thing, and this is where, if you guys remember on this podcast, when the Big Ten didn't jump in with Amazon, we thought the Big Ten would get like one game. And I kind of said to you, like, that really hurts the Big 12 as far as them going streaming. And the reason is like Amazon and Apple, and they're really the big two players. I guess you could somewhat say YouTube, but YouTube is more just acquiring, like, they're not putting on broadcast.
Right.
Neither is Netflix. It's Amazon and Apple. they want to be more specifically. Amazon wants to be more like a place for college football fans to go. And I think that their idea is to have multiple conferences. Like, so it's not just like we're just going to isolate ourselves to one area of the country and just be in the Pac 12. Right now, if they could have gotten it for pennies on the dollar, I think that would have been different. But I think what Amazon wanted to do was okay, we're going to have a Thursday
Game
night
here.
Big Ten
Yeah.
game. We're going to have a Friday night Big 12 game.
Yep.
We're going to have a Saturday night Pac 12 game. And that's just our lineup every week, as opposed to buying the entire rights for one league that regionalizes you.
Yep.
So this is a good way for them to, every college football fan in the country is going to subscribe to this if they're not a Prime member already.
It's interesting. Both ways can be effective. Where Apple's kind of done the whole league by itself approach. They have hit a monster of a grand slam with the MLS, which it doesn't get talked about really in Iowa. But the Messi effect has been a godsend for them. I mean, the MLS ratings for that product is off the charts good. You're going to see MLS grow like crazy because Messi's going to be a big reason why, and Apple's going to take advantage of that because they're not only getting seat up, and this is where the streaming we're not thinking big picture a lot of times. Streaming is great in the U.S., but with Messi, Apple TV Plus has been streamed worldwide. It became a worldwide product almost overnight, thanks to that guy. And so those rights they got, man, they would be probably 5 times the worth they are that they got them for even a year ago. So it's interesting. I mean, the college football is not MLS and it's not soccer. There's not worldwide interest for college football. But you also saw Apple almost get into the Pac-12. That was going to be the deal.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to acquire all the conference rights, but then it all blew up at the last second. It's two different approaches. I don't know what one's better, but there's no question. 5 years from now, there will be a lot more games on streaming. You already saw it. What the Iowa game this weekend is on Peacock. I mean, it's just going to become normalized. Is it frustrating as a fan that you have to switch back and forth? It is, but it's just going to be part of the deal. That's where the money is for these companies.
Other rumor you're hearing with Apple right now is that they are very interested in Formula One, and this doesn't really impact college fans, but like to kind of think where their model is with the specialization thing, like the thought of like watching an F1 race where you go into this like hub. Oh, I want to ride around with Max Verstappen. Okay, I click on that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd like to ride in the middle of the pack, so I'm going to jump into an AlphaTauri and right,
That's a good point.
If you think about like that's kind of how Apple's looking at this.
And they've
I
got
don't
their
know.
new VR device coming out in January.
Oh, good idea.
And
You
so
could really do it with F1.
correct. So this is interesting. I mean, I don't want to geek out and nerd out. I really do, but I won't in this case. The augmented reality VR stuff, I'm really curious how that impacts sports broadcasting rights and rights in general. That thing's going to be a slow rollout. It may fail miserably, this Apple headset, but that thing has a chance to be crazy interesting as far as sports viewing is concerned, and may alter some of the stuff that we know about viewing sports. It may not, but I think a sport like F1 is one that it could really change. Can you imagine, CW, you're a race guy, if you're in the car in an augmented reality situation like your Max Verstappen or one of those guys? I mean, for the older generation, it probably wouldn't work because you might get a headache or something. But man, it has a chance to really be a game changer. One other thing I want to mention, and while I'm nerding out here, college sports rights and viewership has never been higher. So for all those who said that the portal and NIL and all of this extra stuff was going to ruin college sports, boy, it hasn't impacted it this year. Now maybe it will down the road. But the viewership numbers for college football have never been higher than they have been this year.
Good points all the way around, and this is a good sign. If you're don't kick and scream because there might be a playoff game on streaming. Like this ultimately will be more money for the Big 12, more money for Iowa State, like those types of things. And this is where the money. Sorry to counteract what you do for a living, but this is where the money should come from. Like television, and this is a good thing. This is a really good thing. The more people you get involved, because for the longest time, college football was just Fox and ESPN. For the longest time, it was really just ESPN. And
Yep.
now you're seeing more and more of these things. And we were always on this. I think we were about 10 years ahead, but we saw it coming. Like you knew. And right now, like I'm still, you know, I'm still very bullish that in the next 10 years that ESPN is purchased by Amazon or Apple or something.
Yeah,
Like I
I
still
agree.
think that will happen. And there'll be people out there that will in the industry that will reject that. And I'll probably get some nasty text messages for I still think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, 10 years is a long, long time. So and so why the question is then what's with all the realignment? It all goes together because those conferences that have the most money eventually will start paying the players and it becomes a salary cap within the conferences. That is my prediction of where this is headed. At some point in the next 5 years, there will be employees. It's going to happen, whether you like it or not. And so those conferences that have more media rights will have a bigger revenue share. Thus, they'll be able to pay players more and will have a recruiting advantage. This is all where it is going. So the collective thing, it matters. I don't think it's going to matter for more than 5 years. I really don't. But I would say
Mm-hmm.
for those 5 years, you better stay afloat
Oh
because when
yeah,
that
because then you could lose your spot and they'll start
correct,
relegating.
correct, when that ship leaves and you're not on it, it doesn't matter at that point. And so you got to stay competitive with whatever. I know the format is weird and nobody really likes it, but you got to stay competitive for the next 3 to 5 years or else you're not
Totally
getting on
agree.
that boat. You're not getting on that boat.
And yeah, I have a lot I'm going to say, but I'll save it for another podcast.
Yes,
Hey,
perfect.
I need you to. I'm gonna throw you on the spot here. I gotta grab something real quick. Could you do thank yous to our friends at Gravitate Co-working in Hopewood real quick?
I am a professional
Okay,
ad reader.
real quick.
So I can do that. The Woods are the best. I mean, let's just be honest. Power couple in Des Moines. You've got Jeff Wood with Gravitate Co-working, multiple spaces right here in the heart of Iowa. Why do you want to work at home in front of Zoom like I have to do every day? We can go to Gravitate Co-working, be around human beings, get a coffee, get a beer, have a meeting room, and it's very reasonably priced. They're all over the place. Des Moines, Windsor Heights, they're even in Jefferson. Look them up. Gravitatecoworking.com. And Jeff's beautiful partner spouse is Hopewood. She is probably the world's best estate attorney, at least in the state of Iowa. She will help you out with anything you need for get your will done in a day. It's something that we need to do. It's important. I had a little guy break a collarbone this week, C-Dub.
Oh
It just made
man,
me realize,
you guys have had a
man,
rough go.
you don't know what's going to happen. You do not know what's going to happen. You better get that will done. Get that will done because you don't know what's coming next. And Hopewood is just a lovely, lovely person. Part
So
of the
you guys
Wood
have
power
had
couple.
broken foot and broken collarbone in a month.
Yes, yes.
That's
I
bad luck.
I wouldn't want to be around me. This is why I'm in a separate location for you. I've got bad juju right now. Bad mojo.
Yeah, yeah.
As Campbell would say, Everett only has a stinger. He's day to day.
Speaking of that, I'm very hopeful that Malik Verdon will be back
I am too.
this week. I want to do one quick plug for our premium. There's, I don't know. I feel like I'm not a snake oil salesman. I think we do a really good job with our premium, with Cyclone Fanatic Premium, Patreon, the message board. We're constantly giving little updates, little tidbits, that type of thing. I'd encourage you, and it helps keep us free. Frankly,
Yes.
like it's kind of it's a tax on the. It's not a tax. It's like a tax on the diehards, but you get something out of it. But like that is such a big deal to us now. Like with ad rates continue to drop, and like it's just we would not be here without if we hadn't made that move about 3 years ago. So give us an opportunity here. A big update last night on basketball practices, how they're going,
Yeah,
all that
and
good
one
stuff.
one quick thing. So we've actually a lot of people may not know, but we will as partner with Cyclone Fanatic. If you join at $50 a month or above, you get free access to the premium message board. So if
Yes.
you're looking for like a gift for that hard to shop for Cyclone fan in your life that I don't know what to get them, you can support the Cyclones. You can get a premium membership and get exclusive We Will gear, all
That's
for
awesome.
a great price. And it's a great way we've worked together, and it's been a big plus for all involved.
Well, it's because I see a ton of value too with We Will. It's like if Iowa State sucks, our
Correct.
product isn't
It's
nearly
not as
as
important.
compelling. And
Right.
I mean, everybody needs to work together. All right. I want to get into the Big 12. Again, we kind of skipped our Big 12 segment on Sunday because we wanted to do the gambling thing, which there was another update on that today where they're lessening penalties even more. So Iowa State and Iowa are truly the guinea pigs here
The
in this
NCAA is
gambling
lessening
thing.
penalties. Yeah.
Yeah. Good correction. We don't need to get too far into that, but we do want to thank our friends at Wiffles Hybrids who continue to bring us the weekly Big 12 segment each and every week here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network. They are opening up this new facility in Ames for our friends at Wiffles, and it is going to be badass. And what I like to promote about it the most is they see all the ag talent coming out of Iowa State and they want to be there. They think that they can get better people. They think that they can get more people. And when's that? Like the spring is when that
Yeah.
opens up.
Yep. They're moving. They
Yep.
are
So
moving.
we'll
It looks great. I drove by it the other day.
I think we're gonna go to a show from there at some time. But we appreciate Wiffles. Let's do this Big 12 deal and kind of look ahead at this week's games and just run through these teams a little bit. The big one is Texas and Oklahoma, and of course
Yeah.
we hit on Oklahoma in on Sunday a lot. We both are really impressed with Brent Venables' team. They're ranked 12th right now. I think they're top 10, and Texas is ranked third. I think they're definitely top 5. This feels like I think either one of these teams potentially could lose this game and still make the playoff.
Yep.
But this is a huge game. I could see either, honestly, Brent, like with this year's league, I could see either one of these teams running the table in the league.
Yeah. Man, I don't. I would like to see who goes to K State. I mean, that's kind of a goofy road trip. Does somebody go to UCF? That's kind of a goofy road trip. But otherwise, oof. I don't
Oklahoma
see
does
it.
not play K-State.
What? Then that's like the one team
Oklahoma
that.
got an easy
Good
draw.
grief.
Here's Oklahoma's schedule: Texas,
Okay.
home against UCF,
Eh.
at Kansas,
Okay.
at Oklahoma State,
Mm.
home versus West Virginia, at BYU, and TCU at home.
Oh my gosh. You're
So their
right.
schedule sucks.
They need to win. If they win Saturday, it might be
Honestly.
whew. So I was talking to somebody.
Texas the rest of the way is at Houston,
Nope.
BYU at home,
Nope.
Kansas State at home,
Yeah.
at TCU,
Okay.
at Iowa State,
Mm.
and at home versus Texas Tech. So they're both heavy
That's
favorites in every game the
in
rest
every
of the
game.
way.
It might be double digits for every game except for
Yeah.
the interesting thing. I was talking to somebody up in Ames this week, and their quote to me was, "Oklahoma's the best team we've played in several years," which I thought was really interesting. So, I mean,
I buy it though.
if either Oklahoma, I thought the same thing. I thought Oklahoma played out of its mind good. Now, is that them typically every game? It's not gonna be every game, but man, what they rolled in, talent after talent, depth after depth, and then they just mixed up everything. They had Rocco spinning a little bit in the second half. So yeah, I think they're the real deal. That game is super fascinating. I like Oklahoma in the points. I mean, I don't know if they can do it. I just think Oklahoma's got a little bit more juice to play for here. They're going to be underdogs, and they have won this series a lot. What is it, like 6 of 8, 7 of 8? I think Texas has more overall talent, but Oklahoma's playing for a lot here. I think this is going to be a fascinating game. I think it's within the 3 for sure, or whatever, the 5, 6.
I would be with you. I would take points here.
Dylan Gabriel doesn't get talked about enough. I mean, that guy.
He's like 30 years old.
I think I'd take him as a college quarterback over Ewers.
No doubt.
Am I wrong there?
No. But I think Texas is probably better up front.
I'm with you
on both sides of the ball.
Yep. I just I think again I went from I don't know if Oklahoma's any good to no that team's really good. That team is really really good. So we'll see if they can keep it up. Granted, they haven't had turnover problems at all yet. So that'll dictate the game a little bit down in Dallas, but this is going to be a good one.
Like if stack Oklahoma up. Shoot, I should have printed off some power ratings, but stack Oklahoma up against Lincoln Riley's new team.
Yeah.
Clearly,
I wanna
like
see
for
it.
real though, like USC doesn't play defense. Like Oklahoma now, like they're not as good on offense, but they're still good. But
So
they're really
interestingly,
good on defense now.
yep. So
They're
I'm
just
looking at
better.
I'm looking at the ESPN FPI rankings. Again, this is power. Their power. They have Ohio State 1, Oklahoma 2.
Okay. So
Texas is 4.
that backs what we're saying then.
Yep. So their resume is almost perfect so far. They haven't really played much yet. I just think they looked the part. That was not a paper tiger. They had guys. And so we'll see if they can keep it up. I think that's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to that one, even though I wish they both would lose. And can I make an editorialized statement here? The
Yeah.
Big 12 doesn't have to recognize those two as much as they do on social. Maybe they have to legally. I don't know. But it's like, does the Big 12 need to celebrate that it got game day when those two are just going to talk about the SEC the whole time?
No, I'm with you. I would be petty here.
I mean, I guess if you maybe the Big 12 could still take credit for the TV ratings because it technically is while they're in the Big 12. So you want to keep those as high as you can. That's the other side of it.
We have a Friday night game. I misspoke on Sunday. This is a Friday night game. Kansas State is at Oklahoma State, 6:30. Gut check time for the Cowboys here.
Yeah, I like them in this spot.
Last stand.
Yeah.
You know, they lost in Ames, but I kind of feel like they left that game thinking like, okay, we got a quarterback now. You know, I feel like that was a step forward for them, even in a loss.
So this is
I don't know what that says about Iowa State, but if I'm looking at Oklahoma State objectively, that's how I feel. And then you're coming off of a bye, regroup, last stand, prime time, standalone game against Kansas State.
So in a world where up is down and down is up, I was checking this out because I think it'll be a factor in Iowa State and TCU game on Saturday. Right now, if you look at average plays per game, C-Dub, TCU is 4th in the country at 83.5 per game, which is a bunch. Interestingly, who's 5th? Cincinnati, who's next week for Iowa State. But even more caught my eye. Our good friends, the K-State Wildcats, are 10th in the country in plays per game.
Seriously.
At 79 per game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bill Snyder is not pleased.
He's not there. No. So our buddy Colin Klein is running up tempo, I guess. That or I can't say I've watched a bunch of K-State. They've had the ball a bunch. But they must not be sucking the clock down as much as they have in the past. So the obvious question is Blum, where is Iowa State in this whole pecking order?
It's got to be bottom 30.
Iowa State is 101st.
Yeah.
At 65 plays per game. So TCU, to my point, is running 20 more plays a game than Iowa State. That is significant. And it's also why tempo is an interesting side plot for Saturday. You know, does Iowa State tried to go toe for toe with Oklahoma in the pace and space stuff, and it worked for a half, and then Iowa State ran out of steam. I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if you can do that against TCU. I don't know if you want to try to do it. Do you try and go back to the phone booth a little bit? Or maybe at least like not the phone booth, but the living room game. Like you keep it somewhat tighter. I'm not sure. We'll see what old Nate and Matt decide to do. Because TCU likes to run a bunch of plays. Their offensive coordinator is Kendall Briles, and that's what they do.
He's been catching some heat down there for the start of their season.
It's his first year there. He was at Arkansas.
Yeah, they're not all about Kendall Briles right now.
Now their numbers haven't been as good, but if you look at the raw data, their defense is actually better than it was a year ago. Their offense just isn't quite as good yet.
Offense, they got a guy who can run at quarterback, clearly. I mean, if you're going just off of talent and like expectations, he's probably the third or fourth quarterback in the league, right?
Yeah, he's been good.
Yep. But he is getting their line hasn't been great. Like he's getting sacked a lot.
Yep, and they're running
which
it
could be on
okay.
him too. He may be slow to make decisions. It depends on how much tape you've watched. I wouldn't necessarily know. Let's run it rest this slate, and then we'll dig more into Iowa State. Central Florida is at Kansas. Really an important moment, I feel like, for Gus Malzahn and that Central Florida team after they blew that lead to Baylor last week. They played K-State tough, weren't there in the end though. That's the most interesting game of the weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, outside of Oklahoma, Texas, but
yeah, kind of throwing that one away. But like,
it is.
I mean,
it is
in Kansas too. It's like, what are you?
What are you? I don't know. They looked very pedestrian in Austin. Just but they didn't have Daniels. Is he going to play? Still to be determined, I'm guessing.
I think it's to be determined.
But this is a very much like who's actually good of you two? Because UCF started to get a little buzz when they went on the road and beat Boise. Kansas goes undefeated in the non-conference. I don't know. This is a let's see something type of game. It's October. This is when the big boys start playing. Because Kansas did this last year too, right? They started 6-0, 5-0.
But it's also kind of what I thought, and I'll take a little credit, but I don't think it's very hard to figure out. Like a lot of these new teams are not performing that well in the Big 12 in year one, which is very predictable.
Yep, just like everyone kind of thought.
Yeah, I think it'll be even more predictable the deeper we get into the season.
So to your point, get this. The new teams, C-Dub and conference play, are 1-7.
Okay.
Keep an eye on it.
Texas Tech is so then that way you just blindly play Kansas, whatever that is.
Yep.
I'll write that one down.
It's 2 points.
2 points, that's it? Oh, I'm all in on Kansas.
I think so too.
Texas Tech is at Baylor. That's another night game, by the way. So that's kicks off same time as Iowa State TCU.
That line moved a bunch. They must have listened to our podcast on Sunday when I said that line was wrong.
You did. I made fun of you for it.
It has moved towards my direction. Just FYI for those keeping track.
I just wonder, how are the Tech people doing? I
think they're okay because they won by a bunch.
Yeah, but Joey McGuire was like a god last year.
They had some thoughts of winning the conference this year.
They were, they were the surprise team last year who kind of came on and with a first-year head coach who probably smart people probably faded them, because it's just hard to do 2 years in a row.
Yep.
But then you have Baylor, who's probably been the most disappointing team in the Big 12 thus far. But, yeah, now you ask yourself, okay, so they had that comeback win. Is there going to be, like, real momentum there, or was that just a fluke?
Yep, good or bad. Not sure. And Tech is now a 2-point favorite in that one on the road.
Don't you go Baylor there?
I'm not. Either of these teams, I'm out. I don't know what I'm getting.
I'm not even really talking about betting. I just like if you had to make a pick, like
I think Tech's just better. Baylor's little fourth quarter resurgence when UCF was asleep at the wheel doesn't give me much hope that they can do it for a full game.
What do you think of this Chandler Morris?
They got dominated by Texas. Chandler Morris?
Give you stats on the year.
Yeah, he's a good player.
66% completion percentage, 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 1,400 yards. Now it's notable that he actually beat Max Duggan out last year in fall camp.
He was the guy.
Gets hurt in the first game. Duggan comes in, obviously leads them to the college football playoff. Again, if you're going just off of nothing but like just talent and recruiting ratings, this Chandler Morris is probably the best quarterback in the Big 12, not named Dylan Gabriel or Quinn Ewers, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was highly recruited kid. Not a big guy, though. I mean, he's basically Rocco Beck size.
6 foot, 190 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he's going to run
but
over
he's from Highland Park, Texas,
right.
which is like a football factory.
It is, and that's why he's gotten so much attention, is he grew up in that whole ecosystem. I'd have to go down. I mean, the West Virginia quarterback just runs, which, by the way, TCU ran for over 200 yards West Virginia ran for over 200 yards at TCU, but Green, the West Virginia quarterback, I think had 90 of those yards. So I'll be interested to see if Iowa State has some quarterback run game in the game plan, because otherwise TCU's been pretty good just straight up against the run. So another something to keep an eye on there. But yeah, if I'm ranking the quarterbacks right now, gosh, it's Gabriel Ewers, Daniels when he's healthy,
Yeah, he would be up there, but
and then
he doesn't play that much. Yeah.
Plumlee when he's healthy. He hasn't played. He's not playing right now for UCF. I don't know if he's
I
back
mean,
this week.
Chapin when he's healthy, we
When
haven't really seen him this year.
he played last week.
Oh, he did. Okay,
he did.
Okay, good catch.
So that's
Chandler Morris is the
he's
second leading rusher on TCU, which I think is important.
Yep.
And that's where that like Malik Verdon conversation, because he's a really
Correct.
good run stopping safety. I think that's huge getting him back.
I was surprised how Gabriel gave Iowa State some fits in the run game. And then do you know what else did was the Ohio quarterback. How many times did he take off on third and medium, third and long, and got some first downs? And that guy wasn't exactly a burner. So what Iowa State has had to do sometimes, because the linebackers aren't as good, they're not getting as much of a pass rush, is they've had to go man more on the back end. And that's created some opportunities for quarterbacks to run that weren't there a year ago.
TCU's a higher favorite in this game than we thought they would be at the beginning. I think you're seeing a correction of power ratings now because Iowa State's defense is dropping off.
Yep.
You're no longer this elite top 10 to 15 defense. You're all of a sudden, the last couple of weeks, you're like a bottom 50 defense. And your offensive ratings, while we can all watch it and you see that you're getting better, you're still not statistically in that, because we thought like this would be around a pick 'em.
Yeah.
And if you would have looked at what TCU's done this year, you would have thought that probably hasn't changed. But that's why Iowa State is going to get less benefit of the doubt going forward because this defense. And that to me is, there's an interesting conversation on our Cyclone Fanatic forums this week about who do you trust more, Iowa State's offense or defense.
Yeah.
A lot of astute posters are right. They're going, I trust the defense more because it's proven. But I actually, like, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure I would even go there right now. I think this offense is going to keep getting better. The offensive line took a big step forward against Oklahoma. I love the quarterback. I think you've got wide receivers that can make plays. Sama getting going was big. They need a running back to step up and really own this thing.
Yep, and Sanders has been good too,
Yes.
I think, the last 2 weeks.
So, like, I'm one thing for me to watch is I'm really interested to see how the defense does against a running quarterback, against a Kendall Briles scheme. But I would also point out in a positive note for Iowa State, this is the kind of scheme that this dime stack was built for.
Correct.
So, I fascinating game all the way around for Iowa State. I would definitely take points here though. Like I don't know. I kind of, something tells me Iowa State splits the next 2 weeks, and I don't really want to go on record either way because I don't really know. But I think that they'll go 1-1 and set themselves up to at least be in contention to get to a bowl game in November. That's where I'm going.
I think so too. So Bill Conley, who I greatly respect, and SP Plus has TCU winning this 26-22, which would be lower than the 5.5 or whatever it is, 6 on the spread. Okay. But Iowa State's getting drugged down a little bit by those 2 defensive performances. I just think what the numbers can't tell you is the intangibles. Night game, Trice, the 100th anniversary, the throwback uniforms sold out. Iowa State got embarrassed by TCU last year, completely embarrassed. It was what I would say, outside of the Ohio game, was a low point for the Campbell era because it looked like Iowa State just kind of didn't want to be there, and that has never been the case. So there's a lot of pride on the line for Iowa State. Cyclones do think they are good enough to make a bowl. They think they are definitely a team that can compete with pretty much anybody else in this conference. But this is a big game. So you're at home. I think it's a great setup. I think it's going to be a great game. I think this one goes 4 quarters right down the wire, and we'll see who makes the mistake. And goodness knows, makes a kick. Can you make a kick, a big time kick when it matters, Chase Contreras? So let's hope so. Weather looks fine. Weather looks good.
I really like Chase Contreras. I think that the ball looks great coming off of his foot. It doesn't.
I'm with you.
He's always got plenty of leg. His only misses this year has been on problems by the snapper and holder. I'm bullish on him. I wish Iowa State had him for more than a year, to be honest.
I think this is going to be. This has the feeling of one of those games that we remember for a while, one way or another. I just because the setup is great. Like it's just a great setup. Uniforms, the Trice Legacy game night, weather's great. It's a hungry Iowa State team, a young Iowa State team, and they're going to be ready to go. I think everybody up there is ready to go this Saturday.
Kind of wish it wasn't buried on FS2 with
I
those
do too.
uniforms.
I know. That's the one bummer. It's on FS2, which it's hard to find.
Even though in 2023 the TV thing matters significantly less.
Yeah, the actual numbers, because those things will all get popped online and
and you also the people share it on social, people see the uniforms and all that good stuff.
The question is, what song does Iowa State run out to? Do you go back to Thunderstruck because you beat Oklahoma State with Thunderstruck? I know these are the questions that people are asking.
Do you want me to go on my deal here?
Yeah.
It's been really bad this year.
The entrance.
Yeah. Like I don't know if they know. It's looked very choppy. Like they changed the song. I care about this more than I should.
Yeah, and I honestly haven't really noticed.
It's my WWE background.
Yeah, I get it.
The entrance is very important. I'm a siren guy. I want more sirens. I think we need to be pumping that siren. It's third down. Like nonstop. I mean, I'll tell you what they should do at the entrance. Where you do the cyclone weather alert. Right.
Yeah, we need more weather. We need that. Yeah. That needs to be longer. A longer.
So that we go into that, and then all of a sudden, we need artificial thunder and a lightning to go through the ribbon and the scoreboards, and it shuts everything off, goes to black, and then we just start hearing the siren, and the siren, and more siren for like a minute, and we're gonna make people uncomfortable with how loud we are playing this siren. And then, boom, you hit your song. Here comes the team. And I'll make one other statement, and everybody knows how much I love the band, right? Do I need to tell people how much I love the band?
You're a band donor. You're a band donor.
I am a donor to the Iowa State University.
And they got new looks for Saturday. Looks great.
They look great. I love the band.
Way to go, band.
The band always has a place on college football Saturday and an enhanced place in my world. But we need to play the pump up song longer and less of the band playing the fight song to the team running onto the field.
Yep.
Because it's like you go from this loud, supposed to be intimidating like thing, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, na, 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 na. Like it's great. I love the school song. I love the band. We need to find a way to kind of get them out of that situation.
And the other thing I would suggest, and maybe I'm sacrilegious here. I like the Bells of Iowa State when it's a it's at commencement or something.
I almost got canceled once. Me and Sage Rosenfels were having some beers in Orlando, and I voted that we get rid of it on football game day.
No, you have it, but you don't have it 10 minutes before the game.
No,
you have it 45 minutes before the game. Bring the band back
when no one's
bring them back. Yeah, but it's a tough job. You're not going to please everybody, but so what I did here. Did you know Iowa State's has a bid in to upgrade the video board? You see that news come out?
It needs it.
Yes, that may be.
Pixels are all screwed up, and
again, Iowa State's kind of fighting, kind of going to battle with a butter knife here, and in some regards, due to the constraints of the current system. Like you go to your point. Like I would love that you shut the lights down and have them come back up with like some lightning.
How
and
cool
thunder.
would that be?
Oh man, let's figure that out.
You could do it in Hilton.
Yeah.
You could totally pull that up, and it's like a total blackout, and then lightning then siren, hit the music.
I was watching something. They were going heavy into the siren. I'm like, why don't I mean? And they weren't even a natural disaster school, but they had a lot of
But you watch
sirens.
all these other games with like great atmospheres. Like it's loud in these places on like third downs and like where there's stuff bumping and like I do feel like that we've missed a big opportunity here in the last 8 years in this rise, like the best era of Iowa State football ever, to establish some sort of a tradition.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know why.
It's Juicy Wiggle and about
Yeah, you're right. The Juicy Wiggle thing is
That's
that's a
new.
real tradition, and that will be around forever.
Yep.
I mean, that's a song that if my any of our kids go crazy when they hear it. So they
They'll
established
do.
that.
That's a win.
But like, I have no idea what song the team comes out to.
Yeah,
because it's changed every year.
It's like we're kind of maybe that's the point is maybe you don't have a consistent thing. And Kanye didn't help matters.
Yeah, Kanye got canceled. So yeah, you're right. That was
fine.
it. You're right. I
like
forgot
that.
about Kanye.
Yeah,
so that's not anybody's fault.
Kanye's partly to blame here. But no, I think that I don't know. Maybe because it's what about this? Since it's the Trice Legacy game, what if you just have somebody read the letter dramatically? I don't know. Just trying to think of ways to incorporate that. We'll see.
I just think that
something to keep an eye on.
The entrance should always be something that everybody feels like they need to be in the stadium to see.
Correct. And right now it's
this
not.
exhilarating, and it just doesn't feel like that right now. And I don't know
I'm with
why.
you.
And I don't claim to know all. I have all the answers. I know those people work hard. The atmosphere is way better than it used to be in that stadium.
It is.
And frankly, the team scoring more would help.
That would help.
Yeah. So all these things can be true. It's perplexing to me how like the song's constantly different, but whatever. I admittedly care too much about these things, right?
Yeah, I was just thinking out loud, like, will they do something different because it's the Trice Legacy game?
Well, I mean, here's the deal: Thunderstruck makes sense.
It does.
If you're going with the whole siren and tornado theme.
But go into let's. I like the lighting idea. I don't know if it's even possible. That's a great idea by you.
Yeah, it's all, and then cyclone weather alert, right? Oh no, the twisters are coming. Boom, really loud thunder sensation, lightning strike. We have a blackout. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Oh, listen, here comes the tornado siren. It's the cyclones coming out of the tunnel with smoke. And now we're going to play whatever badass rap song or whatever we want.
For at least a minute. Yeah. We've solved it.
I sit around fantasizing about things like this. I'm a WWE guy.
I won't. We'll save this for next show. Relocation of the student section.
That is above my pay grade.
Yeah,
and I don't sit in the stands, so I don't really get it. I actually asked my family about this because all of you fanatics
people have thoughts on this. Yeah, people
hammering me about it, and I don't realize it up in the press box. So you guys would have to. We would have to lean on some of our great listeners for that. But I can tell you this entrance thing is not. We've lost our way with it. And I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, I think it's a good healthy discussion. We're trying to get better. Everyone's trying to get better.
We need more of that trumpet song though.
We have not seen it. I have not heard it this year.
So if our little birdies are tuning in, we'd like some more of that. Just play more of the siren. I'm telling you, if you just play that obnoxiously,
just for whatever reason. Yeah.
I've never heard anyone be like, "Yeah, I don't really like that. I don't
like that siren." No, you won't hear it.
And there's no one else doing it.
Nope.
Play more siren. All right. Appreciate Mac Dine, our presenting sponsor. Go buy yourself a bottle of Cody Road for your tailgate this weekend. Williamson Blum. Here on your Wednesday, we'll be back on Sunday evening from the Wild Rose Casino Studios. We'll see you guys out at the lots on Saturday. Later.
Frogs down.